made us so that we would love him. We wouldn't be made in his image, and we wouldn't truly love him because we would be forced to. So love, the love that he gave us, that he made us, and he created us, is all about a choice that we make. So God gave us a choice. And that's where the jeopardy came in. That's where the angels may have said, oh, don't do it, God. But how much do the angels know? They know a lot, but not as much as God. God says, no, I'm going to do it. Because if I make someone in my image, and I make someone not only in my image, that they would go against their intelligence and go against the wisdom that God gave them and go against what was written in their heart and say, I don't want to be anything like this person that created me. I want to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. And shouldn't have happened. But it did happen with two of God's great creations, Adam and Eve. No sin in their life. Don't think you have to have sin in your life to sin. You don't. They didn't. Think about it. They were innocent. They were righteous. They lived. But they took this freedom that God gave them and chose to do something God told them not to do because someone told them that they could be like God in every way and know as much about everything as God did and be just exactly like him. All they had to do was disobey him in this little way. And they did. And that very thing that wasn't supposed to happen, but could happen because he gave them a free will, happened. And it's cost God a lot. Because it damaged his love. It hurt him. But you know what? This is how far his love extended. And we're going to see that more and more. His love extended way beyond the hurt that came to his heart. Way beyond the wickedness of the people. Nathan's brand new here. I just kind of bonded. I just met him and just loved him right away. Nathan, have you ever done anything wrong in your life? Yeah, how many have ever done anything wrong? And they're like, okay, there's a bunch of people that are your brothers and sisters here. You know. But that's displeased God. But that's what this room is about. People say, I don't want to displease God anymore. I don't want to live that way. I want to live how he planned me to live. So let's go on with him. Let's become part of the plan God. And so God created this law, and it was a law of, it was a spiritual love. It was a love of everyone. It was a love of giving. We're going to talk about that. It was a love of giving without expectation of anything in return. We're going to talk about that. That's what you've got to see. There is a basic need that every one of you in this room and everyone in this city and everyone in this state and everyone in this country and everyone in this planet has. They have two basic needs. They may have some others. You have to eat. You have to drink water. But these are two basic needs. The need to love. Everybody wants to love. And everybody wants to be loved. The problem is we don't want to do it God's way. And when you want to love, it doesn't become God's love. It becomes the selfish love. And when you love, it doesn't become God's kind of love because you're loving the selfish way. So the devil has a counterfeit for everything God has done and made. Just remember that. And he will always offer you the counterfeit. And he will make the outward appearance of that counterfeit beautiful. But it is deadly. Dark, deadly, painful. So everybody has this need. You have this need to love and be loved. And God says, I know that. That's why I'm a God of love. Read about me. The Bible says God is love. He doesn't just love. He is love. His very essence is love. So what he has to give us is unbelievable, but we don't let him. So here's the dilemma. We've talked about it with different people. I had this dilemma. And so this is a review. I'm just giving you a little review of what we've been going on. So we're not going to take much time. But the dilemma is God tells us to love him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. The scripture, by the way. our definition and understanding of love is so shallow. The further you get away from God, the more shallow your understanding is of him and his things and his principles. And the further you get away from God, the very words that God used to portray his principles have been so watered down because we're far away from God that we have adapted the world's idea of these terms. So love, when we say love, how many of you have ever said love in your life? You ever said love? How? Okay, let me ask you something. I don't ever remember my dad say that to me, even though he loved God and he loved other people. I don't ever remember him saying he loved me. And so it became very hard for me to ever say I love my dad because I didn't understand. I understand rules and authority and you have to do this and you have to do that. But I never remember my dad putting his arms around me and saying, I love you. The words never came out. When I was 31, I had been so affected by this message that we're talking about the love of God that my heart changed, and I says, wow, I don't ever remember me saying to my dad that I love him. So I got my dad, sat him down. Hardest thing I ever did in my life. I looked in his face and said, Dad, I want to tell you I love you. And I got to tell you something. There was no emotion there because I didn't understand that. I said, I love you. And he looked at me. And I knew he loved me. So don't get me wrong. He just never said it or showed it to me. And my dad said to me, what did I want him to say? I love you too. He didn't say that. He said, that's good. Now, if I hadn't been in the state I was in with God, which was a good one, I'd have got bitter there. I'd have got angry there. I'd have said, I just told you, and you haven't got the whatever to tell me you love me, but I didn't. I just felt badly. I don't know if you've ever gone through that. Maybe you have. Some of you in this room, your mom, your dad. But on the other hand, there's this Father in heaven who loves us and tells us he loves us all the time. And that's what we should start to know and understand. So I grew up not really understanding what love was. Now, because, and I've said this before, because I'm more, my emotions are more on the outward than they are on the inward. And we tease a lot because Kathy's German, I'm Italian. And I don't mean to say she's not emotional, but she doesn't show it like I do. She shows it in a totally different way. Does she ever cry? Yeah, I make her cry all the time, which is stupid. Why did I marry this guy? Yeah. No, many girls, Christopher was telling me that his prior to Christ life was totally, he was a woman seeker. And that's not even the word he used. I'm just making a nice, and I was too. I fell in love with every girl I saw almost, not everyone, but if I saw a pretty girl, I what did I do wrong? So I'm really ashamed of that. But I'm telling you that to say I had this feeling that I thought was love would come up, and then when something else would come up, I'd see some, then this feeling would go away. Then I feel I didn't love that person anymore, and I transfer on to someone. So I came to the place where I thought I would never ever be able to get married, because what if I got married because I love this girl, and then I got married, and then 2 weeks later I didn't love her, and I couldn't walk out. So all these thoughts went through my head because I didn't understand what love was. So I guarantee you that in most of our churches today are people more, but you don't know what love means. And so some of you are tripped up and trapped because you think if you don't feel good, like you see the little lady coming down and praying every week, it's always usually a little older lady, You watch them in church and it looks like they got, they dress funny and older people dress funny and smell funny. I told that to Kathy. I never want to smell funny, so I really, but older people tend to look funny and smell funny and they don't have to, they just, I don't need to change clothes anymore. I got my husband. I could go on that. Anyway, I'm just making up the story. So, but these little old ladies, they sit in church, and they have a bun in their hair, whatever. And now men do too, so I can't use that too. But they seem to have, when you look at them, like Ingrid, you look at them, And I'm not saying she's older, but you look, they kind of like have a halo there. You know, and you go, are you Catholic? No, just kidding. Because they have halos, you know. Isn't that right? You see these older people and you look at them and you go, ooh. They glow. Yeah, glowy. They glow. Oh, she likes that better. Okay. And then they come down and pray and they say, oh, God, I love you so much. And you're my life. And I carry in the Bible. You look at their Bible. It's tear stained and it's all wrinkled. And, you know, and you can't even find the Bible on your iPhone. You know, it's, and so you, why can't I be like that? They love God so much. And God could say, no, they really don't. They just like to cry. They just like to feel good. You know,